Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Susan Padron. She is an intuitive personal stylist, an award winning author, and a podcast host. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
You are welcome to the show, Susan. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk about. We'll be talking about how one can unlock their signature personal style. So we'll come to this first to understand for the audience, Susan. Help them understand who about you. Who is Susan? Is she only about personal styling? She's only about being an author or a podcast host. Help them understand who you are, what you are, and so that they understand you the best way that you want to work the world to know.
Yes, absolutely. So I've always had a passion for helping people really just explore clothes and kind of go outside of their comfort zone in trying different things. And ever since I was little, and I could go shopping with my friends, I would always get more excited about choosing clothes for them to try, even more so than finding clothes for myself. And throughout a journey that led me through being a middle school music teacher for a good period of my life, to then coming back to personal style and becoming a stylist, that's really where I came back to my passion for helping people and helping people to just rediscover themselves and bring style back for them as that outer reflection of who they are inside, doing all of that healing work to then really just become who they are. So that's that's what brought me to this moment, to this day with you.
Absolutely, absolutely, Susan. So now coming to this personal style, what is this signature personal style that you talk about? Is it about clothing? Is it about people, how they look, how they behave? What is one's style, personal signature style, if they want to discover? Help us a bit in detail so that people can know as much as possible and rediscover themselves.
Absolutely. So, yeah, your personal style is so much more than just clothes and just what you put on your body. It's how you show up in the world. It's how you really decide how you want to be seen and how you want people to engage with you right away. Because our first impressions, when we first interact with somebody, before we even open our mouths, it's what we're wearing that is our first introduction to someone. And we want to make sure that that introduction is an accurate depiction of who we are. And then, of course, we start talking and people get to know us and they get to really know the inside of us. But what we have on the outside, that's their first clue. And they might not even be fully aware of it. But you're going to attract your people, bring in your people that are aligned with you by what you're wearing. And then that translates into other aspects of your life. It makes you more confident to go for, jobs that you want to pursue. It makes you more confident to maybe pursue dating or just showing up, going to events, or just leaving your house and feeling good in what you're wearing. So it's this beautiful combination of who you are on the inside reflected on the outside. So that's your unique personal style, your individuality being reflected in what you're wearing. And it's different for everybody. I talk about, very frequently about how you shouldn't be copying other people's outfits. It's great to have inspiration from anywhere, really. But when you start copying an outfit, whether it's going into a store and seeing something on display and saying, yeah, I'm just going to wear that. Or if you're online, you're watching YouTube and you're watching all these different style influencers putting outfits together and you're like, okay, I'm just going to buy exactly what they're wearing. That's not the reflection of who you are on the inside. And that's often where we have that disconnect and that, dissonance as well that shows up because we're not doing the work inside to say, okay, well, who am I and how do I want to show up? And then bringing that in with our clothing and with our accessories.
Right. So how do one get started in, in living their signature personal style? Are there certain ways to, start, or is it like you can begin at any place at any time?
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone can discover their style at any point in their lives. It's not something that you have to be a certain age or a certain size to really dive into it. And my favorite way to have people start is by being able to answer the question, who am I? And I don't mean who am I in terms of the roles in my life. Like if I were to answer the question, who am I? And I just say, I'm a personal stylist, I'm an author, I'm a podcast host, I'm a mom, all of those things they do apply to me, of course. And they connect with my lifestyle, they connect with my day to day, but they don't really give you any information about who I am as a unique individual. But if I say things like, I'm fun, I'm also very warm, I'm nurturing, all of those aspects that come in, that's where I can make the connections with my closet. So, being fun, that's where, you can incorporate bold accessories, really bright colors. Being warm and nurturing, that's soft materials like the sweater that I have on right now. It's soft, it's cozy, and people are going to see that and be like, "Ooh, there's something about her that feels safe." And that's the environment that I like to really create for my clients because of the vulnerability that kind of goes into the work that I do naturally. So by asking yourself the question, who am I? Perfect place to start. And if that feels daunting, because for some of us it does, then you can also look in your closet, look at your favorite things to wear. Look at the clothes that even when you're so busy in the morning, you have so much going on, you need to get dressed because you have something going on, you grab that clothes, you grab that outfit, you're like, this is going to work. There's information that you can gather from that outfit. What is it about that outfit that makes it your favorite? And that's going to give you information about your signature personal style too, because your favorite pieces all tell a story, and that story is about you. And when you can really figure out what that story is, it can be really transformative in your personal style.
Right, right, Susan. You talk about attracting your dream life through your personal style. How do I know what my dream life is? Because
Ooh,
before, when you are living a particular life, that life goes into a different direction.
yep.
When you think of a dream life, and rebrand yourself or look at your signature personal style, then this dream life might be different than that. So how do I calibrate the two sort of dream lives and get onto that path of living that? Is it very easy? Is it very difficult?
Mm.
How does should one look at it?
Yeah, it's challenging, right? Because for a lot of us, it can be tough to even take a minute and ask ourselves, like, what does our dream life look like? What would that feel like for us? And challenging ourselves to think bigger, thinking beyond the life that we're living now. And you may feel very happy and satisfied with your life right now, and that's beautiful. But that doesn't mean you can't ask yourself, what would even more look like? What would it feel like? And that's where, again, like bringing in your style, showing up authentically as yourself, fully as yourself. That's what's going to show yourself that you're capable of more. That's what's going to show, the universe that you can bring in more, that you're willing to do the work. And to answer your question, if it's difficult or if it's easy, it's difficult. It's not something that happens overnight. It's something that takes time, because a lot of the things that tend to hold us back from pursuing our dream life, from defining our signature style, go hand in hand. And that usually has a lot to connect back to the things in our life that are limiting beliefs, things that we feel like we are not deserving of greater, not deserving of more, or we can't wear that because, and then, fill in the blank of a list of reasons, whether it's we're too old or we're not the right size, or, just all of these different reasons that come up for us that we have to take the time to release and unlearn and understand where all of those beliefs are coming from. Because if we don't take the time to understand where they came from, we won't be able to do it long term. We won't be able to really unpack all of that, process it, and release it so that we can continue on that path to our dream life. And then, bring that style back into it and say, no, I am deserving. This is what I want to wear. This makes me feel so good. And I love this for me. When you can step into that confidence and embrace it fully, it's phenomenal. It's life-changing. It truly, truly is.
Wonderful, wonderful. You talk about, clothes holding energy. If you
Mm.
can explain that a bit more, better for us so that people understand it.
Yes. So we often, when we're energetically sensitive, a lot of us are aware when we walk into a room, when we walk into a space, sometimes we can feel, whether it feels really good or it feels off. Sometimes you just walk into a room and you're like, this doesn't feel right. There's something off here. And whether you're attuned to energy or not, most of us are aware of that. We feel something and we're just like, this doesn't feel right. We might not have the wording for it, but we just know it's off. And we think sometimes people have that energy too, where sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, I love this person. This person's amazing. I feel like I've known you forever. Or other people where it's like, I would be okay if we never spoke again. And we often forget that objects such as clothing have that kind of energy too. And it's because our clothing is on our bodies, right? It's within our energetic field. And when we have a positive experience, then that clothing is part of that positive experience. And we think about, going back to that favorite outfit, right? We might have that one outfit that we wore. We're like, yes, I had the best day in that. Like that was the day that I got my book deal, or that was the day that I met my partner, whatever it is, we remember those things. And the opposite is true for negative energy, where we might say, oh my gosh, that was the outfit that I wore when I had the meeting for my divorce. So that was the outfit that I wore to my grandfather's funeral. And we will not grab those pieces because of the negative memory, the negative energy that has become attached to them, just like we would grab the pieces that have all that positive energy. So by removing the pieces that have the negative energy from our closet, whether we're getting feedback from the memory or even clothes where it's like, oh, that used to fit and it doesn't anymore. And it's telling yourself that you don't love your body the way that it is right now. You're like, oh, if only I could get back to that size. It's all of this feedback, energetic memories, sizing, all of that ties in together. And we need to get rid of the negative energy in our closets in order to bring in more positivity, bring in more just abundance, and be able to bring in that dream life that we were talking about too. So we want to look in our closet. We want to stand in front of our closet when we're getting dressed in the morning, or stand in front of our set of drawers and say, yes, like this is what I want. This is what I want for me. Like this feels good. I'm excited to get dressed. I can't wait to play with my clothes and put them on my body. It should feel exciting and easy and fun.
Right, right, Susan. So there is much to understand about these things from you, and there is so much to learn. So many places from one can learn that you have. You have the book, you have the podcast. So tell
Yes.
us a bit more about your book. We don't do just okay anymore. This is a nice name. Help us understand this name. What is this book all about? What information does it hold? And also about the Susan Padron podcast, so that people can learn as best as possible from you.
Absolutely. So my book is part style guide, part memoir. And the reason that it's both is because a lot of my personal journey is what really led me to doing the work that I do with my clients, being able to guide them through the different big transitions that they're going through in their lives. And I share about the different periods of my life where I felt like I had to show up in a specific way because of, the job that I had, or because these beliefs that I had, and how I was able to really break free from that And then, of course, there are like really easy, accessible style tips along the way too, which allow you to do things like go through your own closet, start like the basic steps of finding your signature style and really seeing what feels good for you, in a way that you can just kind of do it on your own. It's like meant to be self-guided and timeless, because when we think about fashion, we think about style, it can be very time stamped with things like trends, for example. Sometimes there are trends that come and go. I wanted my book to be timeless so that no matter what was happening in the world of fashion, regardless of gender, regardless of trends, it's something that anybody can pick up and read and go through. And the title comes from the fact that when I first work with a client, one of our very first steps that we do is we go through their closet. And I'll always ask them with every piece, I'll be like, what do you think about this? And a lot of the time they'll say, it's okay. It's just okay. And I always say to them, well, we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing just okay anymore, because we're working together. Like, just okay is a baseline. It's not something that you should be welcoming into your closet, into your energy, into your life. Like, because if we're settling on clothes and settling for just okay, then chances are you're settling for a lot of other things in your life beyond just how your clothing looks on you. And my podcast is kind of an ongoing continuation of the book. It's a lot of conversations about personal style, things, again, very applicable, very easy. And it's also conversations that I have with guests that challenge you to think a little bit differently. Because my approach to style, being the kind of personal stylist that I am, is not very typical. If I'm the first personal stylist that you've met, that you've talked to, which I know from the case for you, AJ, it's not. But if for your listeners, if I'm the first one that you've come across, then I would like for you to know that this is not always the way that personal stylists work. A lot of personal stylists focus on dressing for your body type. They focus on things like, what are the best colors for you? And for me, I focus on the individual. It always comes back to the unique individual and what style means to you as that unique individual, and how we can really reflect who you are with your style. So it's, again, like it's a lot of unlearning, a lot of doing things a little bit differently. And the conversations that I like to have on my podcast really connect back to that, in all different aspects, style and not related to style.
Wonderful. Wonderful. There is much to understand from you, much to learn from you. And for those who want to engage with you professionally, what is the best way for them to connect with you, Susan?
Well, through my website is the absolute best way, but I would also love to offer your audience, your listeners, an amazing discount on my style consultation. So it would be $100 off. All they have to do is mention that they, heard about me through KAJ Masterclass, and they will absolutely get the link that has that discount included. And what that style consultation does is it allows for us to have that one-on-one conversation. It allows for us to talk about, who are you beyond the roles in your life? We go through your closet. I send you recommendations like specific for you of pieces that I feel like represent that unique individuality, and that can really spark that process that leads you on to that style journey.
Wonderful. Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.